telling jokes. He was always funny, and I just want that memory of him to last, because through his diligence and sternness, he was just really funny and cute. He's a cute man. But anyway, that's all I had to say, and yeah, that's it. Who's next? Maggie? Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Today we lay a rough and tough cowboy to rest. For those who may not know, my name is Maggie, and I'm Linda's goddaughter. My Uncle Randy was a very important part of my life. My Uncle Randy was one of those people you didn't always fully understand at first. To some, he may have seemed quiet or reserved, but if you really got to know him, he had plenty to say and a great sense of humor. With the people he loved, he was a jokester, always teasing, always ready to make you laugh when you least expected it. One thing many people remember about my Uncle Randy was his handstands. It always brought a smile and sometimes a laugh, and it was just him, playful, unexpected, and a reminder not to take life too seriously. I spent a lot of time with my Uncle Randy. I lived with him during a very pivotal time in my life. And those years shaped me more than I realized at the time. Some of my strongest memories are the simple ones. Country music playing in the house, filling the space and becoming part of everyday life. Even now, looking back, that music brings me right back to him. My Uncle Randy was the definition of a cowboy, not just a name, but how he lived his life. He was hardworking and steady, deeply connected to the land and the animals he cared for. He milked cows almost all the way to the end, staying true to the life he loved. After a long day's work, he enjoyed a cold beer, or maybe a few. He was strong, too, the kind of strong you didn't always need to talk about. My Uncle Randy could beat just about anyone in arm wrestling, and many people learned that the hard way. He raised 3 beautiful children and loved them deeply. Over time, that love grew into a big, beautiful family. He was a proud grandpa to 9 grandchildren. He also had a lasting impact on many of his nieces and nephews, including me. One thing that never went unnoticed was his love for my godmother, Linda. He loved her in his own steady way, through loyalty, commitment, and always being there when it mattered most. When I lived there, his youngest son, Zach, and I raised a little hell together, and my Uncle Randy was always getting after us. But looking back, that was his love. He cared enough to guide us, to correct us, and make sure we're growing into better people. My Uncle Randy helped raise me. He was part of my foundation, a steady presence during important years of my life. He showed love through action, by showing up, working hard, and being consistent. Those lessons stayed with me, and they always will. In his later years in life, my Uncle Randy faced ALS with the same rough and tough strength he carried through his whole life. Even as his body grew weaker, his spirit never did. Today we say goodbye to a man who could be quiet or hilarious, serious or playful, depending on the moment. A man who lived honestly, worked hard, loved deeply, and enjoyed life in simple, meaningful ways. His life mattered. His legacy lives on through his children, his grandchildren, and everyone he touched. Thank you to my Uncle Randy for the laughter, the lessons, the music, and the love. You'll be missed more than words can say, but never forgotten.
Randy and me, we spent much time together. Lots of time. Good times. We even had a few bad times, but most of them were good. I'm going to miss him a lot. Already do. Many nights down at the fire, spending with him. I love him a lot, and I miss him, so Take care of them, Lord.
So this is from my mom, Lori. It says, in loving memory of Randy Smith, the life of a farmer, a cowboy, a family man. Randy was a man who lived with his boots on the ground and his heart on his sleeve. A lifelong farmer, Randy knew the value of a hard day's work and a quiet piece of a morning milking. In his younger years, he carried a spirit of a true cowboy, dreaming of the grit and adrenaline of being a rodeo bull rider. While his battle with Lou Gehrig's disease took him from us far too soon, that same bull rider toughness stayed with him till the very end. Randy was the definition of stubbornly kind. He was a pillar of strength for his wife, Linda, and a devoted father to his 3 children. He loved to see his family grow, finding immense joy in his grandchildren. To his brothers, his 2 sisters, and many nieces and nephews, he was a steady hand and a quick wit that kept everyone on their toes. He was also a man who valued deep connection, often through his legendary late-night phone calls. Whether we were saving the world together or just planning how to, you knew when Randy called, he was fully present. I never had to worry if the line went dead or the phone call got disconnected. He would always call me back every single time. Even we had already talked for hours and I thought I was finally going to get some sleep. When he wasn't in the barn or on the phone, Randy found his joy in the simple things. He loved the quiet water and the thrill of fishing. He was a true fan of country music and the kind of songs that told stories just like the ones he lived. He had a deep appreciation for the roar of a muscle car and the steady power of a Chevy truck. Give Randy a cold beer and a bowl of ice cream and a powerful engine to admire, and he was a happy man. He was also a man of surprising talents, most notably his legendary handstands, which he could hold longer than anyone half his age. Randy taught us that life was meant to be lived with strength, a little bit of defiance, and a lot of love. He was built like a rock, and his memory will remain just as solid in the hearts of those he loved. On behalf of Linda and the entire Smith family, we want to express our deepest gratitude to everyone gathered here today, to those who brought meals, shared stories, lent helping hands on the farm, or simply offered to share a shoulder to lean on during Randy's illness. Your kindness has been their strength. Thank you for loving Randy and supporting them through this journey. We are forever grateful for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to hear another song, and then we will have one last chance for others that might want to share. Second.
I'm just listening to the mom. I want to start this by being honest. My Uncle Randy and I weren't especially close in the way that some families are. We didn't share long conversations or everyday moments. But I've learned that closeness isn't only measured in time spent. It's also measured in what someone stands for, and the way their life shapes the people we love, and the legacy they leave behind. And in that way, Randy mattered deeply. Randy was, at his core, a farmer, not just in what he did, but in who he was. The land wasn't simply his job, it was his identity, his rhythm, his purpose. He loved the cows, the routine, and the responsibility. Milking wasn't a chore to him, it was a way of life, a quiet kind of devotion, a kind of steady faith in showing up day after day, no matter what. That kind of work doesn't ask for applause, it asks for endurance, for grit, for heart, and Randy had all of that. But if you knew him, you also knew something else. Jim, I'm sorry. He wasn't just hardworking and steady, he could be kind of a jackass. My mom told me that when they were kids, Randy used to chase his sisters around the barn with a pitchfork, just to scare them, just to be annoying, and just because he could. And I laughed when she told me because somehow it made everything about him feel even more real. And if you need a good chuckle later, you can ask Debbie how she handled it or landed in the manure pit at the end of that story.
He had that kind of edge to him, that mischievous streak, the I'm gonna mess with you just because I can type of love. But it was never cruelty. It was his character, his personality. It was his heart wrapped in sarcasm and stubbornness. Because behind that tough exterior was a man who loved deeply, worked endlessly, and showed up for people who mattered to him. When ALS entered his life, it tried to take everything from him, his strength, his body, his independence, but it never took who he was. Even as his body grew weaker, his spirit didn't. His determination didn't. His love for the farm didn't. He worked as long as he possibly could, holding on to the life that had shaped him, refusing to be defined by what was being taken from him. And in watching him fight, something else became clear. Randy just wasn't strong for himself. He was strong for the people who loved him. My mom wrote about standing beside him in those last months and how heartbreaking it was to watch him fight for every step, every movement, but also about how being there with him gave her a kind of peace, a strength she didn't even know she was learning yet. That is who Randy was. Not someone who needed big words or grand gestures, but someone whose life quietly taught others how to endure, how to show up, how to keep going when it would be easier not to. He built a life rooted in love, hard work, and family. He was a husband, a father, a grandfather, a brother, and a friend. He found joy in the simple things, time out at the cabin, a late night beer, a good story, the pride he had in his calves. In a world that moves too fast, Randy lived in what was real. And even though ALS changed everything, it never took his essence. Because who Randy was, his work ethic, his loyalty, his stubborn strength, his mischievous humor, and his big heart, those things remain. They live on in his family, in the land he worked, in the routines he honored, in the people who now carry what he taught them forward. We don't remember him today only for how he suffered. We remember him for how he lived, for the way he stayed true to himself, for the way he loved his family, for the way he held on to purpose even when his body could no longer keep up. And maybe that's the most meaningful legacy any of us can leave behind, to be someone who, even in the hardest season of life, remains who they are. And Randy did just that. And so to Randy I say, rest easy, your work here mattered, your life was real, and the love you gave will always be right here.
Thank you.
Tell me, what does it look like in heaven? Is it peaceful? Is it free like they say? Does the sun shine bright forever? Have your fears and your pain gone away? 'Cause here on earth it feels like everything
Anybody else want to share a word before I do? Thank you to all of you who have shared already. Nobody else?
This week, I was able to spend, or the week and a half, with Linda, her children, and the grandchildren. What a wonderful experience it was. They're such loving children and grandchildren. They told stories. We laughed. Boy, did we laugh. We had such a great time spending evenings, planning everything. And I'm so proud of the love that they have for Randy. Linda and Randy have the most blessed family. And I'm so blessed that I got to spend it with them this week and a half. So I thank you all for allowing me the time to spend with you.
Thank you.
Linda, I'm so sorry for your loss today. Kids, I'm so sorry. I just want you to know that your dad had a way of making everybody, whoever came in contact with him, better. He found, lost cause cases, and he had a way of, slapping the shit out of them, giving them the proper sense of direction. And I am so proud to stand here today and say that I was one of those who was made better by your dad, by your husband. And I'm going to forever miss him. I love you all, and if you loved Randy, I love you. And Mike, take care of him, show him the way. I love you all.
You give me a mic and I might start singing, but I like to talk too. But I'd be real quick here because I know, there's other people that want to talk, but to end it. But I always think, I was fortunate enough to be one of the ALS reps for Mitsubishi, Tanabe, Pharma America, they're called. They're obviously a foreign company. They own 200 and some companies across the world, but ALS was one of their companies that I worked for, and the more and more I think about it, I was ranked one of the top reps in the country, and I couldn't figure out why. There's 5,000, 5,500 people that are diagnosed with ALS. Oh, by the way, I'm Shane. I'm Randy, one of Randy's cousins, but there's 5,000, 5,500 people diagnosed roughly a year with ALS, and we all know it as Lou Gehrig's ALS, the Ice Bucket Challenge with years ago. I don't know if they still do it anymore, but raise money for ALS. But we have the Center of Excellences in Duluth, Minneapolis, and Rochester. So I worked really, really close with those teams in those areas, and it's heartbreaking. And the more and more I get to know people and the waiting rooms and working with the nurses and the doctors tirelessly to try to figure out this disease was unbelievable. But I later found out why I was number one is a lot of people from all over the country were coming into Minnesota because of these centers of excellence. So they go to Minneapolis, U of M, or did you guys go? Or in Hennepin, okay. And we had Radicava as the only, obviously there's no cure for ALS. It's slow, the process down at work for some. Some people live 20 years with ALS, some live on average 2 to 5 years, 3 to 5 years, and some go, unfortunately, real fast. So, yeah, and I just, people from everywhere were coming in, and I would talk to these people, and I understand the stress. You know, I don't know what you're feeling. I mean, it just, even from my law enforcement days of, you know, going to medical calls with people losing their loved ones, and then with ALS, talking with people from all over the country, it's very painful, and it's hard. And if you don't know what ALS does to people, I mean, their mind is great all the way to the end, but the rest of the body starts shutting down, as we all know. So I just want to say, you know, I'm sorry. I kind of, unfortunately, I didn't want to be number one, because I don't want, you know, out of these people, I was one of the tops, and I just, you carry that over, and I just I love looking at the old pictures of Randy and his friends and the family and the bald heads and some of that Smith-Vukolich bloodline in there. So, and I always like to, I never want to be as someone try to do a pastor or a Charlie Kirk or somebody, but I would just have I like to share my experiences with somebody you may know. Is when I went to Israel, I always like to share my Israel stories because they're unbelievable. But right before they got attacked, we were out there that year, and Sea of Galilee, the city of Magdalene, obviously Mary of Magdalene, the city she was from, where there's a place there where Jesus taught the people of Magdalene, and then you would go out on a boat, and you could go on a boat for a while and experience the Sea of Galilee. And I've never, ever in my life have felt what I felt on that boat that day. And it's emotional when you go to Israel anyway, the whole time you're there, but you need to understand, I was actually kind of pissed because it was raining that day, so I didn't have any emotion, but the feeling on that boat is I've never had a feeling like that before, other than in Rogers, Minnesota. I was a police officer for 10 years, and a father, no breathing baby. Father suffocated a 6-week-old baby, and I had to stay with the baby in that room. It was just me and that baby. For a time, and later, after investigating, we found out he was a satanic worshiper, and he didn't believe in God. But as you know, you're short of killing this guy. But Satan believes in God, so I think he should probably rethink that. But I had that same feeling in Rogers as I did in Galilee. I know there was that presence of God with that baby, with me, within that room, that baby died, and the same feeling I had in Galilee. So I just want everyone to know my experiences. If you always hear from the pastors, priests, whatever Christianity you believe in, or listen to Charlie Kirk videos, or whatever you may do. I pray more. I always say I pray probably 100 times more than a Muslim does every day. So it's because they always have to stop and pray. And I devotionals, I probably do 15 to 20 of those a day. So you have those experiences in your life, and I just want somebody closer to you to know that ALS no more. He took ALS, he'll take care of that. Your dad, your husband, your son, so much better now than he's happy, and we're grieving here, and it's okay to grieve, and we all grieve differently, but just understand that Jesus took that ALS. It's gone, and there's no more, and that's just such a great feeling. And somebody said here that life is short. Well, we're going to be all there soon, if you believe. We'll all be seeing Randy again, or your brothers, your sisters, your friends that have all passed away. So I just kind of wanted to give you my experience, and I know I remember Randy, just as Roddy and Randy working hard, milking cows, cows, and they got stuck in a silo one time when I was there when I was a kid. Scary. These guys just worked hard. You'd see them out in the field. I remember one time picking up hay with them out in the field, and they wanted me to try to drive their stick shift truck, and I think I was 10 years old. I don't know how to drive a stick at 10, so I'd keep killing the truck, and I think I took more time out of their day trying to drive that truck and them lifting the bales on the trailer. So, but no, they were definitely hard workers, and I think we're starting to lose those hard workers in nowadays. Instead, more people just want to sit on the computer. They don't want to do anything, so we're losing that hard work and grit. So I'm going to miss, as this generation and these generations start going away, I'm going to miss that. So he's a good person, good man, even though if he was a-hole once in a while, we all are. So, but thank you.
Thank you. Did you want?
Hi, I'm Kurt, Randy's neighbor. 21 years I moved down here in 2005 and met Randy and his family. And it's been a blessing. It really has. Randy's been quite the inspiration for me. You know, we all go through our trials and tribulations in life. I was going through some health issues, back, cancer, now dialysis, and I see Randy going to work every day, 7 days a week. That tractor going by my living room window, you know, and I think, you know, what am I sitting here feeling sorry for myself? You know, this guy, right up until a couple months ago, was